just got a scripture I just want to start on. It's James 4, verse 13. James 4:13. Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we shall go into such and such a town, spend a year there doing business and make a profit. You have no idea what your life will be like tomorrow. You are a puff of smoke that appears briefly, then disappears. Instead, you should say, if the Lord wills it, we shall live and do this or that. And, you have no idea what your life will be like tomorrow. You're a puff of smoke that appears briefly and then disappears. And what a difference a day can make, in people's lives. And that was me a year and 1 week ago today. My life changed, and it was kind of surreal. I thought I had a groin injury, and I'd been to the physio, and she told me that I needed to get an x-ray. And so I went and got the x-ray that afternoon, and then that night at about 6 o'clock, I got this phone call, and she said, what was up with that x-ray? There's something wrong. Whatever you're doing tomorrow, drop it. What's your doctor's name? And I'm going to book, what time can you get in there to see her? And so, it was kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? And I said to Jill, you're going to have to come and, drop your plans for tomorrow and come in with me. And sure enough, we got into the doctor's office, and the first thing that she said when she came out to see me was, I'm glad you brought your support troops with you. And she took us into her office and proceeded to show us the x-ray, and on my left femur, my main bone in my left leg, there was a big egg-shaped hole which was cancerous and had been eaten away, and they rushed me into hospital because they had to secure my leg straight away so that it didn't snap. And bang, my life basically changed then and there. But it was, as I say, it was a little bit surreal because I kind of knew in a funny way that God was in it, because we'd been living in Australia and we came back. We've been there for about a year, and we came back and we were having tea at Hamish and Di's place about 3 days before that. And I was just sharing with Di how I'd had a bit of a life change, and all my life I'd been in business, but I'd always talked about missions and doing that kind of thing. And I really felt that it was time to actually drop out of business and to do that. And Di asked me a question, and she said, if the enemy was going to stop you doing this, if he was going to do something to thwart that, what would he do? And immediately I just said he'd attack my health. And, that was totally out of the blue for me. I'd every other time if someone asked me that, it would have been my finances. He would have attacked my finances. But he, it was my health. And so here it was 3 days later, and bang, I got this news. And my faith was quite strong at that point, because of that and a few other things, a few other words that I'd had. And so I was feeling very, very confident. It was actually, to be honest, the best time I've had in God ever, apart from maybe when I first got saved. I was so close. I felt his presence. Reading his word, it was like he was just talking directly to me. And a few of us have probably been through the Rodney Howard-Browne times where the power of God would just overwhelm you, and I never had anything like that happen to me. And suddenly I was basically not able. I was doing strange things, and I wasn't able to stand up in God's presence and things like that. It was absolutely amazing. And God really challenged us at that point to start up our healing group that we've had going for nearly a year now, and I really want to thank all those that have been coming along and supporting us in that as well. Thanks for that. But I just felt so close to God, and I felt like, there was kind of like a breakthrough, and it's like that's the second scripture, 1 Corinthians 12, verse 12. Now you see things imperfectly as in a poor mirror, but then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I know now is partial and incomplete, but then I will know everything completely, just as God knows me, as God knows me now. And it was kind of like I was so close, and you probably felt it yourself at times where you're in an amazing time in a worship sense or something where you're right there and you kind of feel like you can kind of nearly touch God, but you can't quite. And that was how things were happening for me in those first stages when I got sick. And then as my sickness progressed, I got into more and more pain, and they had to rush me into hospice for a couple of weeks to get my medication in order so that would come right. I was very, very sick, vomiting all the time. I could hardly take my pain medication. And my walking, like all of that was okay, but I could still walk at that point. But then that progressed from, I was on crutches, and then that progressed to those fantastic little granddad walker things with the 4 wheels, and I had a great green one, didn't I? And then suddenly I couldn't even walk using that, and I was in a wheelchair, and it was just getting worse and worse as far as independence was going. And then I got a blood clot in my leg, and suddenly I could only lie down on a bed and keep my leg had to be totally horizontal, otherwise I was in excruciating pain. And so for probably a month or more, I was just totally bedridden, where I'd get up in the morning and go from one bed in the bedroom to another bed in the lounge, and it was horrible, because you were basically just trapped inside this body, not being able to do anything. So my faith at that point, started to, I was still strong because I had that word, like with die and stuff right at the beginning, but I have to admit I was getting a little bit more disappointed, what was happening, why was it taking so long, like, heck, weren't you in this with me, God, right at the beginning? And I was reading heaps of books on healing and from people that had healing ministries and things like that, and some of them were good, and some really left me very disillusioned because you'd read these books, and some of them made it sound like everybody got healed, and if you didn't get healed, what was wrong with you? And it kind of left me in a bit of a guilt trip, and I was kind of thinking, is there something wrong with me? Is my faith not strong enough? What's going on here? And I was having a chat with Di just a couple of weeks ago on that. We were talking about myself and talking about miracles, and Di came up with, she just said, a miracle is called a miracle because that's what a miracle is.